Good afternoon, everyone, and good evening. My name is Heng Sure. Today is Saturday, the 21st of February. It's 12:30 in the afternoon here in Gold Coast of Queensland. It's 10:30 in the morning in China and Taiwan and Hong Kong and Malaysia, Singapore. And it's 6:30 at night back in California. Glad you're here with us. We're going to be continuing our investigation of the picture biography of Master Empty Cloud, telling some wonderful stories today. So, in order to get us going, today we have Ms. Jiang and Ms. Ni and Mr. Ni from Harbin and from Beijing, who are going to be requesting Dharma. I will first ring the bell 3 times. You're welcome to join me in making 3 half bows. Also, 如果各位你们愿意听我所讲的这个法语用普通话来听的话，你的软件的右下角有一个叫 interpretation 一个小地球，那里就可以找到 Chinese， 那就有中文可以听。And also, those of you who would like to hear a Vietnamese translation, that is also available. There will be a link in our chat box, and you can go listen to my lecture in Vietnamese. OK, 那我就乔引请各位先行3问询礼，然后呢就江女士还有倪小姐、倪先生他们的请法。第一问询 first bow， 再问询3问询，好了，你们3位愿意请法，请你们现在开始。
恭敬大德圣体，为此法会一切众生，请转妙法轮，教导我们如何了生脱死离苦得乐，速证无生。Will the Sangha with virtue out of compassion for the sake of the assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma way to teach us how to live with suffering and bliss and birth and death, and quickly realize non-birth.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Namo sadanto sucedoye olahadi sanmyao sanputoshe.
Namo sadanto sucedoye arahati sanmyao sanputoshe.
无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered even in billions of eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. All right, thank you so much. That's a remarkable event we had families back for the New Year's, back together, coming from Harbin, Manchuria. That's way, way up north near Russia. Also in Beijing. So we had a bilocated Dharma request, pretty special. 感恩那么你家蒋家你们三位愿意在原地来请法，我们也很感恩Okay, let's see now. We've got a acknowledgment of country. Respectfully acknowledge the 𝗕𝗵𝗿𝗄 people of the Yongquan language region as traditional storytellers and custodians of the land where our monastery is located. We pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging, and to all First Nations people whose sovereignty was never ceded. 就说我们恭敬地承认，与冈北语族的贡布马里人是我们寺院这里所在地的传统叙事者和守护人。我们向过去、现在和未来的长者们致敬，并且向所有从来没有放弃主权的第一民族的原住民致敬。Bell sound wide resounds throughout 100 million worlds. The Buddha's law is heard and spread all throughout the triple world. The wondrous sounds that everywhere fill the Dharma realm with peace. May those who hear it gain the strength to follow in faith the Buddha's path. 众生传3000劫内，佛法扬万亿国中，共寻其义，法界和平，利益报贪恶护德。There we go. That's our protocol for beginning our lecture. All right. That was wonderful. Appreciate it. Let's see here. There is our Vietnamese translation link. So those of you who would like to listen in Vietnamese, click on that link. You'll hear a beautiful translation. And also, if anybody would care to do the Dharma request in the future, like we just heard, send an email over to our fearless coordinator of this lecture series, 𝗕𝗏cie, and she will be happy to set you up. All right. Now let's take a look. Who has joined? We've just learned that through the miracle of the internet, we could be linked with far northeastern China and here in far southeastern Queensland can join together to listen to the Dharma. Along with our translators are here with me here at the Gold Coast Dharma Realm and also in Alameda, California for Vietnamese. 𝗕𝗏 is our co-host, and Alec in Singapore is here, and Amara, Aurora's in Sydney, Barbara and Ernie are in Talmadge. Bernie and 𝗕𝗏𝗄 are in Sydney. Brian's listening. We've got some great stories today, Brian. From Campbell, California, Celeste in Hong Kong, Guoji and Gokuk are in Alameda, Cynthia's in Saratoga, California, 𝗕𝗏𝗿𝗀𝗏's in La Belle Province de Quebec, in Montreal. Dylan is here from Oklahoma. Hi, Dylan. Edna is here. Edward. Elaine's in Ukiah. Guahong. Jan is in Oregon. Jane's in Berkeley. Guojen is in Alameda. Jason's in Northern California. Jennifer's in Los Altos. Hi, Jennifer. Joy in Calgary. Kelly, Alameda. Liz from New York City's Chinatown. Loy from Singapore. Hello, Loy. Maggie from Taiwan. Mai in the Bay Area, and also Mai in LA. We got a numerous Mai's here. Let's hear. 𝗏𝗏 is here from, what's it called, Fremont? No. Let's see here. Wan Long in Mesa. Peggy's in Calgary. Tina's in Oklahoma with her son. Guoji, Gokuk. Vera is coming to us from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Willie and Virginia, YC by phone from Ukiah. Let's see here. And then we have to switch over to the other side of the planet, our side over here. We have friends from Inner Mongolia listening, from Baotou City, Heilongjiang, Beijing, Anhui, Shandong, Liaoning, Dalian, Beijing, Tianjin, Harbin. Let's see here. Also from, that is from 𝗬𝗲𝗿𝗍. Okay, Shandong. Then we have Heilongjiang, and let's see here, Lanxi from Zhejiang. Then we have Anhui, Zhejiang, Lanhai, Shanxi Baoji. Let's see here, Fujian, Quanzhou, Jilin, Jiangsu, Suzhou. Let's see here, also Anhui, Zhangjiakou and Hebei up in the north, Baotou, Inner Mongolia, amazing. Heilongjiang, Beijing, Hubei, Huanggang, Jiangsu, Zhejiang, Jiangsu, Nanjing, the city of Nanjing, Hainan, down in the far south, Zhuhai, also in the south, Harbin, Guangzhou, Zhongguo, Liaoning, Jiangsu, Suzhou, Heilongjiang, Harbin, Jiangsu, Changchun, up in the north, and then Haining. Okay, that's fun. I also get to practice my Chinese, so thank you for indulging me, giving me a chance to travel in my imagination around all the provinces of China, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Canada, and other places. All right, now today, oh my goodness, do we have some amazing stories. Here's our text. We'll jump right into it. Last week, we found out that Master Empty Cloud traveled from the far southwest of China, Yunnan, all the way to the far eastern coast of China, truly on the coast, to a place called Drum Mountain, Gushan. Historically, for 1,400 years, that place was, if you wanted to get the precepts, if you wanted to ordain, had aspirations to become a Sangha member, and you had the blessing to get to Gushan, that was the place to receive the precepts. The ordination platforms there were ancient and revered and sacred. So Master Empty Cloud was invited by one of the officials there to come visit a monastery called Bubbling Spring, Yongquan, which had fallen into disrepair over the 14 centuries since it was flourished. Now, he was 90 years old. This is 1929, our hero. This is our grand teacher, Master Empty Cloud. He was 90 years old, and he got to Gushan, to Yongquan, and the chief executive, the chief political officer in Fujian province, and the Secretary of the Navy, which are lay people with some authority. When they make a request, even the monks will consider it. What did they do? They say, we need you to stay here and be the abbot, please. And he's thinking it over, and what does he recall? He says, 缅怀祖德公以古山乃剃然出地. He says, I remembered that this was the place where I myself became a monk. This is where I shaved my head and put on a robe all those many years ago. And he said, now 义不容辞就缅怀祖德直难推诿 so 随云就任. He said, I felt like I owed something. I owed a debt of gratitude to the ancestral line of monks who had staffed Bubbling Spring Monastery, so I let them talk me into it. So he is now officially leaving Yunnan province, where he's made such a difference. And he's coming to Yongquan Monastery, Bubbling Spring Monastery on Drum Mountain. And guess what? It's in total disrepair. He has to start basically from scratch, putting it back in shape. So he's done that now out in the far southwest. Now he's got to start over at another decrepit, ruined monastery to rebuild it. So that's what he decides to do. Here's the picture of him stepping in. Notice he's got a beard and a mustache and long hair. And the monks are behind him and the lay people. So here's our teacher wrote a verse to commemorate this. 涌泉古刹唐代兴，高僧龙象度群蒙，云公飞喜住石鼓，整顿宗风教化行。Ancient Yongquan Monastery was built during the Tang Dynasty. There, noble monks, quote, dragons and elephants, took multitudes across. Master Yun, the wandering monk, settled in at the stone drum and restored the school's renowned lineage through his virtue and cultivation. Okay, so for a 90-year-old, that's a big project, wouldn't you say? I mean, he could just sit back if he were an ordinary guy and enjoy his grandchildren and eating it whenever he wants. Nope, he's decided to do hard work. Mind you, he's 90 years old, and we know that he has 30 more years of life to go. He's got another 30 years after being 90 years old. He lived to be 120. Okay, there we go. What happens next? The title is 𝗕𝗔𝗯𝗕树开花, witnessing a pair of cycad trees blooming in the courtyard. It's now 1930. He's 91 years old. Let's see what happens. 庚午91岁，所有一切就绪。春节起，请文知和尚为结魔，讲范往经时，方丈室前。丹池中两株铁树盛开多花朵，俱全此树，乃闵王与圣鉴祖师各手执一株，神难生长，千年始开花一次，以彰其瑞，公有继之，有𝗕𝗵𝗶𝗀𝗿𝗓云云。In 1930, at 91 years of age, the master continued to transmit the precepts in the spring as he had done every year. He requested the Venerable Master Wenzhi to be the Karmadana. Master Xu was lecturing on the 𝗕𝗵𝗿𝗀𝗻 Sutra to Sago palm trees, cycad revoluta, in the courtyard in front of the abbot's quarters, bloomed with many luxuriant blossoms. Tradition states that both the king of the state of Min and Patriarch Sheng Jian had each planted one of these trees. Their growth had been very slow, for it normally takes that species of tree 1,000 years to bloom. Because of the auspiciousness of the event, the master wrote a verse, one line of which says, "Udumbara flowers are not at all a common sight." All right. Here they are, gazing at a cycad tree. Now, what's a cycad tree? When I click on the photo, you'll know exactly. We've got them here. Cycad tree, right? Known as a Sago, S-A-G-O, a Sago palm. We can look out the window, basically, from where I'm sitting and see these here in southeastern Queensland. Interestingly, they're entirely poison if you eat them, especially pets. They say if you have dogs or cats, do not leave the branches or the fruit around, because they're poisonous. So the thing about these, they're called 铁树 in Chinese. And they bloom, literally, they say, once every 1,000 years. So, hold on a sec. if I recall correctly, Yongquan Si. There's a website, Yusenji Yongquan Temple. Oh, that's the Taiwanese Yongquan. That's Kyoto, that's not the one. Yongquan Si, there we go. Oh, wrong. Taiwan, 不一样. Yongquan Si. Jingdu, that's the Japanese one. Beijing Shi Yongquan Si. Is this Beijing? Yeah, so I can't find it. Last week I was able to locate the actual Yongquan Si, and they had pictures of the actual trees, because this is 1930, so it's almost exactly a century ago. These the trees returned. They were still blooming. They were still, I'm sorry, let me say it again. They were still growing, but the blooming is the big deal, that they would actually come into bloom exactly the years that Master Empty Cloud is transmitting precepts, his first year at Yongquan Si. So everybody saw them. In fact, they photographed Master Empty Cloud underneath the trees. So let me read you the verse, and then we'll take a look at those pictures. Here we go. 菩萨言法众护持，放光现瑞正及时，空中全报笼天赞，铁树开花𝗕𝗵ciecie。 The Bodhisattva proclaims the Dharma. Living beings protect and maintain it. An auspicious appearance emits light. The time for it was right. The news was spread in the sky. Gods and dragons praised it. The cycad trees bloomed with flowers, strange and rare indeed. So this is such a so these trees are known in southern China. The down where this is on the coast is not all that different. The climate is not all that different from us here in southeastern Queensland. Damp, not far from the ocean. So we have these trees proliferating, but to have them bloom, they don't bloom. People don't think about these as having blooms, and yet when there is an auspicious, rare event, they can bloom. So it was here with Master Empty Cloud's appearance. All right, here we go. Here is a photograph. Master Empty Cloud, 1930年于鼓山涌泉寺圣监堂前前年铁树下留影. Here it is. This is 1,000 years. Here he is. And notice, he's got long hair, he's got a mustache and a goatee, and he's sitting in meditation. That's our monk, right there. Behind him, these are the blossoms of the Sago tree, and I think this is one too it's very tall. Over where I live, just a 7-minute walk from here, we planted one of these. There's quite a story because why they're endangered, and there's a valley in northern Queensland where these sago palms grow in a pure environment. And the thing is, they've been around. These are living fossils. They've been around forever. And when forget who it was, some botanists discovered these tree-like fossils in this hidden valley in northern Queensland, they cut the news. They put a blackout on the news. They were afraid that gardeners and curious people would go out and cut them down and take them home, or dig them up and take them home. So they got the government involved and let the botanists at the Queensland Museum and Sydney and New South Wales, let them know that what they discovered, and they numbered them and cataloged them, and you could request a planting, but it came with a number. You registered in order to get one for yourself. So they controlled the distribution of them, and as a result, they've thrived. So we got one from a local nursery, and it could grow. See, behind Master Empty Cloud, this trunk would have to be many hundreds of years old to get that tall, because ours is still 2.5 feet. So this is one. Now there's another photo which is equally mysterious and wonderful. The title of it is 𝗕𝗵cie𝗂𝘀𝘀H. This is Drum Mountain Spring Precept Ceremony. The iron tree, that's the Chinese name for them, 𝗕𝗵cie, cycad, blooms. The blooming of the cycad tree, here it is. See, the trunk has grown. He was sitting right here before. The trunk has grown up, and here are the blossoms above. The Chinese have a wonderful way with old trees. They're propping it up with bamboo so it won't fall over. You can see it's tilting to the left, to the right. Here's Master Empty Cloud. I guess this is he here in the white robe. And these are the disciples. You can see the architecture of Yongquan. Here are the blossoms. So that they have a photo of this actual event from 1930 is quite wonderful. Here it is. Here's the cycad. You can see the familiar kind of feathery palm. It's called a Sago, S-A-G-O palms. All right, there we are. At this point, 1930, photographs are more and more common. So back, if we only had photos of Master Empty Cloud 20 years prior, that would be. We have pictures of the Empress Dowager, 𝗕𝗎cie, back in, 1905 during the Boxer Rebellion. That would have been wonderful to get more photos back then. Okay, so now we're going to go to the 𝗕𝗵, the autobiography that he wrote at this time, to pick up some of these stories. The color around the black and white of the story, right? These are, here we go. Let's see here. So I'm going to ask Cliff to read, please. He's got much easier to listen to. His Chinese is authentic and easier to listen to. Here we go. Okay, 10年大事。
10年大事7月，蒋中正就任国民革命军总司令，统兵北伐。9月战武昌，11月战九江，12月国民政府北迁武汉。
Okay, 10年仍在。
仍在四传戒讲经坐禅及加建各殿宇房舍卫净之功，又建于幽冥大钟楼。
Okay.
大事，4月国民政府建筑南京，6月张作霖在北京称大元帅，12月国民政府与苏联建交。
Okay, moving on. Let's see here. Okay, this is Shangang. We want this. Zhang Solin. Let's see here. Liu Yue Lina Chen. Okay, Hui Gushan Fuji. Yes. Cliff, if you start right here, Zheng Yue.
正月由顾回鼓山海军部长兼民主席杨佑京树庄前主席方声涛率官绅留绅住持鼓山，予以施展出地缅怀祖德义不可辞也，随就任。
Okay, so that's what we've just heard. That was Master Hua took that story and turned it into one of the episodes. In the first month, I returned from Shanghai to Gushan. The Minister of the Navy and Chairman of Fujian, Yang Youjing, otherwise known as Shuzhuang, together with the former Chairman Fang, led officials and gentry in requesting, don't know how that got, in requesting me to assume the abbothood of Gushan. I remembered Gushan was the place where I shaved my head, began my monastic career, and in mindful remembrance of the virtue of the patriarchs, I felt it my duty just not to say no. So I accepted. Okay, moving back. Cliff, if you don't mind, this is a little bit long, but it's amazing story. Starting right here, Fuji.
复记一，于就任后封闭的仪式，同治年间，鼓山监院某相助福州关帝庙，余僧庙来最相契，实在鼓山出饭头。某年6月间，将回关帝庙，以住房钥匙托庙来代管。数日后，庙来夜梦监院来报曰：于傀儡常住满物，请将于房中物变卖代为偿还，言讫，弃人而去。次日下午，大众于寺前见监院归来，黄袍僧鞋俨然如往日无异。𝗕𝗨方圆在佛殿东侧，今见其进寺后，径向殿西而入，久不出。众议趋势，见牛栏中生一小牛，黄色可爱。小牛见庙来，忽着跃其前，弃其衣锦，指引向监院聊。众嫌异议，遂差人往关帝庙探视，则监院果于是容易，乃确知其变牛再来偿债者，人相之书当家，则似解语，俯首作惭泣状，可不甚于。
Okay, so what is this? We have, along with the picture biography, the source from which Master Hua selected these events, 200 events from Master Empty Cloud's 120-year lifespan. So this source text is called a Nianpu. It's the autobiography done chronologically, written by Master Empty Cloud himself. He is a man of few words. He doesn't praise himself, so we often get just the bare bones of these events. Occasionally, they add to it what's called appendices, 附记, so extra stories that get stuck in. He may have done them himself, or it may have been an editor later who added them. But the stories come coordinated with the time, the date, and the place where the chronology of the autobiography fits. So there's two events here that happened at Gushan, at Drum Mountain, and they're incredibly captivating, typical Buddhist stories that illustrate an event. So this is, in these two cases, it's Master Empty Cloud himself who stuck them in as appendices to the narration. Here we go. Let's see here, we didn't read that. In the first month, I returned, here we go. After taking office of abbot, I suddenly recalled an incident from the Tongzhi era that happened at Yongquan Bubbling Spring Monastery. At that time, a monastery supervisor, a Jianyuan of Drum Mountain, had been living at Guan Yin Temple in Fuzhou, just around the corner from Gushan, or down the mountain, that is. He was on very close terms with a monk named 𝗕𝗨, who was serving as the cook at Drum Mountain, Gushan. So there's a monastery supervisor who was living at a neighboring temple, who was friends with another monk who was the cook at Drum Mountain. One year in the spring, the supervisor was preparing to return to the temple where he lived, and he gave his room key at Gushan to 𝗕𝗏𝗍, the cook, for safekeeping. Okay, so far so good. We got the players here. A few days later, 𝗕𝗏𝗍, the cook, dreamed that the supervisor came to him and said, confessed, I have stolen money and goods belonging to the monastery. Please, with the key that I gave you, go into my room, take everything there, and sell it to repay the debt that I owe the monastery. Having said this, in the dream, he departed sorrowfully. Okay, so far so good. So 𝗕𝗏𝗍, the cook, had an amazing dream, and he recognized the supervisor, his friend, who came to him in the dream and said, I misused money and goods that belong to the monastery. If you don't mind, go into my room, take everything you see there, sell it, and then repay my debt. So he said that, he disappeared. The following afternoon, everyone in the assembly saw the supervisor come back to the monastery. He was wearing a monk's yellow robe and a monk's shoes, and he appeared exactly as he had. They recognized him. There he is. He's the Jian. His quarters were on the east side of the Buddha hall, but he entered the monastery. He went to the west side and didn't come out. So everybody's like, wasn't that the manager? Where'd he go? The assembly, finding it strange, went to look. They saw that in the cattle shed supporting, now these are vegetarian monks, but they protect animals that show up. So I'm sure this was just an animal sanctuary. It was not cattle shed preparing to kill the cattle, not. They saw in the cattle shed a brand new calf had just been born. He was yellow in color and very cute, quite charming. Uh-oh, who is this calf? When the calf saw the cook, 𝗕𝗏𝗍, it jumped up, grabbed his robe in his mouth, and pulled him to the supervisor's quarters. Everybody was like, what is going on? Somebody went to Guan Yin temple to check it out. It turned out the supervisor had died that very day. Okay, everybody clear? So the assembly, the monks, the monastery residents saw their familiar manager who had been living at Gushan but who actually came from the Guan Yin temple. They saw him walk through but didn't go to his room, which is on the east side. He went to the west side but then disappeared. So they thought, well, that's weird. They went over to check, oh, here's a brand new calf, just born, very cute, wearing the same color robe, fur. And the cook goes to look, and the calf takes a look at the cook and jumps up in surprise, seizes him with his mouth, drags him across the monastery to where the supervisor lived. And everybody was, what? So they go, well, what's going on? He should be down at Guan Yin temple. What's he doing here? Who is this calf? Sure enough, he had died. Only then did they realize he had been reborn as a calf to repay his debts. When people said to him, Jian Shifu, manager of the monastery, he seemed to understand, dropped his head, shame and sorrow. So with that in mind, how can you not be careful with the belongings of the three jewels, belongings of the monastery? Okay, so there's a Buddhist story for you. And Master Empty Cloud saw this or remembered it, that it happened here at Gushan, so he added it to his autobiography. Okay, Cliff, number 2. There's more.
光绪年间，宝华山父四某死后，寺中聘马生子，伏出胎，即跑进父寺生前疗房，永身上床，向墙壁撞灭注以𝗕𝗍𝗿𝗱𝗍，见洞内藏有银8两，乃知马氏父嗣后身，称其名，则点手与应，以长大。自知勤苦，为纵马首领，常率众马赴句容、南京等处各站房驮运粮物，所经道路自然熟悉，不需人照管，人皆称为马父嗣云。
今年是火马年，这个很相应呢。Yeah. So, here we go. Story number 2. Oh boy. During the Guangxu era, a certain Vice-Abbot of Baohua Mountain died. After his death, a mayor in the monastery, and again, monasteries were big, small cities almost, community, depending on the size of the monastery. Baohua Shan is a big place. So it's not impossible that they would have horses and cattle. Not, again, not to eat, not to exploit, but monks and nuns worked for their food. They were farmers. So there's this teaching, a day of no work is a day you don't eat. So if you want to eat, you have to work. And often that was taking care of the vegetable garden. So wherever there are farms, there are farm animals. So a mayor in the monastery, I'm saying this because some people might go, wait a minute, why are there cows and horses in the monastery? They're supposed to be vegetarian. Well, they are. They're not there to eat. They're there to sometimes for the monks to save their lives. Otherwise, the animals would go to glue factories, etc. So, a mayor in the monastery gave birth to a foal, to a baby horse. As soon as the foal was born, what did it do? It ran into the former quarters of the Vice-Abbot, jumped on the bed, and started attacking the wall. Struck it with his hooves, tried to bite it. So here's a young, small horse chewing on the wall in the room of the Vice-Abbot. Got that much? It's like, whoa. The assembly found this strange. Yeah. And they took a pick and broke open the wall and discovered there were 8 tails. I don't know how much a tail is, but there's 8 strings of silver money. They understood that the horse was the Vice-Abbot in a previous life who had come back in the body of a horse and still remembered the debt. When they called the young horse by his former name when he was a human, it would nod in response. So as it grew, the horse was diligent and hardworking and became the leader of all the other horses. It would often lead the horses to carry grain and goods to places like Zhurong and Nanjing. The routes it traveled were familiar to it. No human had to supervise. All right? So people called it the horse Vice-Abbot. Okay, now some of you are going, oh boy, these people are very gullible to believe something like this. I can guarantee that when you live close to animals and birds, you notice their behaviors. And each of them has a special character and special sounds that it makes and special foods that it likes and special habits. Some animals are really vigorous. Some are slow and lazy. Others are nervous and skittish, right? So some are just very kind, even-tempered. So this is true even for for birds and for, woodland backyards animals. When you live close to horses in a farming situation, you depend on those horses. So it's no stretch to understand that these monks, who also, mind you, these monks don't have kids to raise, they don't have spouses to negotiate, husbands and wives. So the animals in their care, they are very tuned into. These are relationships for them. So to say that they would call the horse by its name and the horse would respond, they're watching, they know. And especially a horse that behaves so unusually, right? To go into the room of a monk and pound on the wall, and then sure enough they discover there was money that was somehow hidden away by the corrupt Vice-Abbot, who was using it for his own benefit. Okay, so the monks recognize that this is an extraordinary horse. They're going to pay attention to it and notice how the horse is hardworking. And some horses, if you can identify which horse is the leader, or which horse is the leader of the cows, or if you have dogs that are really, really smart and well behaved, you pay attention. So the monks identified this horse as the one to lead out. The other horses will follow. And the horses recognize it too, because it's a horse's body, but inside the spirit of this horse is something extraordinary. It had been a monk in the past. So, but the monk now had a horse's body to repay the debt that it owed for having misappropriated 8 taels of silver. Even so, this horse now was trying hard to get back to its human body. So it'd work on behalf of the monastery to carry grains and goods to cities far away. This is before motor vehicles were common, especially not to poor monasteries. So if you have a horse that can lead the other horses, if it knows how to get there, if it remembers things like that, you want to treat it well and pay attention. Okay, what do you all think? Is that these stories are like, whoa, right? They're just stuck right in here in the midst of the autobiography of Master Empty Cloud. So, yeah, how about that? I'm going to see, hold on here. There we go, right here. Yongquan Monastery. Let's see if we can't come back here. There we go. There's Yongquan Monastery obviously was a Yongquan Monastery was a popular name because there were Yongquan monasteries in Japan and Taiwan. Let's see if we can come up with an English. Yes, here it is. I believe I've found what I was looking for. Okay, so it had fallen into disrepair. Famous monastery, 1,400 years it was put together as a, let's see here, collections, because it was the place to go to receive the precepts. Here we are. Mountainous southern China. Master Empty Cloud probably looked up at something like this only in ruins, and he had to rebuild it. So here we are. You can see how close it is to the coast. This is Fujian. Taiwan is just down here. This is Fujian province. First built in 783 during the Tang, went through many changes. At one point it was called 𝗬𝗰𝗱𝗀𝗀. Oh, I didn't know that. So Emperor Wuzong at the end of the Tang was a Taoist who wanted to destroy Buddhism, and he did. This is one of the three great purges of Buddhism in China, all at the hands of emperors named Wu, for some strange karmic reason. So Yongquan was destroyed at the end of the Tang and then rebuilt because it was such a famous temple. In the Song dynasty, the 11th century, it was rebuilt. In the Ming dynasty, they called it Yongquan. It burned twice and was rebuilt each time, including a catastrophic fire in the 1400s and a disastrous fire a century later. So these ancient temples were built and then destroyed, rebuilt and destroyed again. In the Qing dynasty, it was refurbished. In the Kangxi, and renamed Yongquan, and then Master Empty Cloud rebuilt it and became the abbot. So it talks about all the different halls that are there, bells, sutras, national treasures. So this is, we've got this searching from English. Let's see, there was one Yongquan temple. Okay, Yongquan temple. There, here we go. Images. There is one picture with the cycad trees. All right. That's the same vista that we saw. This is not the one. Let's see here. This is the liberating life pond with all the turtles taking the sun on a raft. Here's Guan Yin. Ancient walls. A moon gate. A map. The Shanman, the mountain gate. Okay, maybe we won't find it today. But there's, this is Gushan. Okay, so just to know that as we go, we have 30 more episodes. That today's was 170, let's see here. Today was 172. So there's a total of 200. So we have 30 more episodes, and we average about 2 per week. So we will be finishing it probably. We're here heading towards autumn, the end of the summer. So it's the opposite in California, heading towards spring. So we've got a few more months to continue our investigation of Master Empty Clouds. Truly a witness to the tumultuous changes in China at the end of the dynastic system that lasted for 5,000 years. And now China is trying to find its way back to political stability. They have a ways to go, and Master Empty Cloud was there and watched the entire rebirth of China. All right, so for us now, if you would like to join me, I would like to dedicate merit today using Medicine Buddha's mantra, and there it is on the screen. Those of you who can recite Sanskrit, these syllables really are very, for speakers of English and other Romance languages, these phrases are easy to recite. So give it a try. This is Sanskrit, ancient language, to carry the blessings of the Buddha named Medicine Buddha, the healing Buddha. So if we dedicate the merit of listening to this lecture and studying the Dharma, wherever you would like to send it, it goes out in the form of these ancient syllables. Give it a try. Here we go. And then, before we stop, we can bow to Guan Yin if you care to join me. It's a good thing to do on a Saturday morning. First bow, second bow, third bow. Bow in respect to the Venerable Master. You can bow to Master Hua. All right, that'll do it for us for today. Happy New Year, everybody. See you all next week. 阿弥陀佛。